Welcome to the Power of Design podcast, where we have inspiring conversations that explore the intersection of architecture, construction, and real estate, so we can understand the dynamics and trends that shape an exciting and powerful built environment. This is your host, Jack Osa. Today, in the Power of Design podcast, I'm talking to my friend Mike Grippo. Mike is the owner and principal of Playbook Management, a project management company specialized in office, industrial, and adaptive reuse projects. 6 years ago, Mike took the leap to start his own business. During our conversation, we talk about entrepreneurship and the steps he took to make his dream a reality. This is my conversation with Mike Grippo. Mike, welcome to the Power of Design podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Jack. Thanks for having me here today.
Mike, for the last 6 years, you have dedicated your time and energy to help your clients manage design and construction projects of various scales and project types. What is the most common mistake people make when projects go wrong?
A common mistake that people make when projects go wrong, I would say if a project goes wrong, there's probably a lot of mistakes that were made that weren't caught or weren't resolved during the process. So one thing that I see a lot with when an issue arises on a project is somebody's in a hurry to get it fixed out of the best interest of the project. And sometimes you want to kind of sit back, wait a minute, analyze the whole situation and figure out who else on the team can help you fix it. So whether that's the architect, whether it's the construction manager, general contractor, basically sit back and say, hey, I think I know the answer. I know what the direction is moving forward, but let me get some of the other teammates together and figure out the best solution for the client. So when we go to that client, because there was a mistake, an issue, a problem, we come up with 2 or 3 solutions, a bunch of options, and vet it out. Everyone's on board. So you don't make a decision in a vacuum, and it could be the best decision, but you want to make sure that everybody is on board. So you've got a collective, here's the next steps.
Yeah, from my point of view as an architect, sometimes when I work on projects where there is no project manager, it's just the end user or the client managing the project. One usually takes more work from the design team because you need to help them understand things that are not of their expertise. And on the other side is, like you said, sometimes they don't know who is the expert to solve that specific question. So they ask the wrong person or they solve it themselves and they don't realize that they're making a decision that is going to take more time and is going to cost more money, which is not what they want.
Yep. No, I totally understand that. And I even on projects that we work with clients on, sometimes that's the direction things are headed in, or some of the decisions are made. So we kind of try to step in there and make sure we ask the client, hey, are you sure that's the right decision? Do we want to ask these other teammates on your team, et cetera? So we make sure that we're collectively coming up with the best solution and hearing everybody's answer.
Yeah. Mike, tell me about yourself. Where did you grow up?
I grew up all over the place. So my dad was in the military. So I'm a military brat. Lived all over the U.S., a little bit in Asia, and grew up in Germany. So I was born in New Jersey. I think we moved to Georgia after that, Okinawa, Mississippi, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and then Frankfurt, Germany, where I spent 6 years there and graduated high school from there. So after that, I went to Virginia Military Institute for my undergrad and received my civil engineering degree. Lived up in the Baltimore, D.C. area for 6 years, did some really cool projects, and moved down to Charlotte in 2000. So grew up all over the place, but now I consider Charlotte home after being here for 20 years.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. So have you found that all those experiences you had growing up have been giving you tools that you use today when you're performing as a business owner and client agent in your projects?
Yes, actually, it's had a great influence, impact on my life. Just growing up all over and learning different cultures, learning about different people, learning about just different countries, and just seeing that everybody's different. We moved around a lot. So every 3 to 4 years, you're picking up everything, leaving your friends that you had for 3 years, moving to another city, another part of the world, picking up kind of from ground zero and meeting new friends, building those relationships. And in 3 or 4 years, it's gone. So I think for me, it's really been a good experience in just learning about people and just listening to people, being friends with people. And it's really easy for me to strike up a conversation in the elevator or things like that, where for other folks, it might feel a little awkward. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, I think today everybody's talking about diversity and inclusion and, embracing other cultures. And I think that's very key to see where, how other people think very differently. They approach problem solving from a different point of view. They may value different things than the ones you value. So I would think that getting exposed to that diverse group of people it helps you be very agile as far as dealing with people. So you understand quickly where they're coming from and then what's the best way to communicate with them.
Yeah, no, I mean, everybody's different. So if you communicated with everybody the same way, you would not be successful. So you need to know who that person is, what makes them tick, how to communicate with them effectively, to give them information to make a decision, as well as how they communicate to you, to read them, to understand, okay, this is what this person is meaning based on this conversation or this topic.
Yeah. When you moved to Charlotte, what was your first job?
So in Charlotte, up in DC, Baltimore area, I worked for 3 different GCs. I was in Baltimore, did a lot of work out of town, did a lot of industrial manufacturing work, some retail and office, and then worked for 2 contractors in DC and did some really cool high-end projects. I worked on the Washington Monument Phase 1 project. That was when they redid the whole infrastructure inside, redid the elevator, did all the demo and abatement of all the underground bunkers that fed the HVAC units. So my whole career up in that area was general contracting. I moved down here in 2000 for a company. At that time, it was a McDevitt Street in Bovis, and they just were purchased by Lend-Lease. Mm-hmm. So it was Bovis Lend-Lease, and worked on office, industrial manufacturing, did a little bit of travel around the country with them. And in 2004, I ended up getting a job with a small local, just family-owned, community-oriented construction company called RT Dooley Construction, and that was a game changer at that time. I ended up getting my MBA in 2004 here in Charlotte with the Wake Forest MBA evening program. And I was thinking about getting into real estate. I wanted to get out of construction, but I ended up meeting some folks at Dooley, a classmate of mine a year behind me there, worked there, and we just kept in touch and ended up working there as a project manager. And probably would still be there if it wasn't for all the changes and the economy in 2009, but they ended up being acquired by a large global company, Balfour Beatty. Great company, good people. And, it's just moving from a big company in Charlotte in 2000 and going to a small company and having that big company atmosphere and feel again. It just wasn't just wasn't me. It just didn't feel right. I missed that smaller company. So that's kind of what brought me down. Hopefully that answers your initial question.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's interesting to see how culture in different businesses and different companies, they affect employees. And sometimes we just get used to some type of culture that is very family oriented, very small. And I think bigger companies, they try to do that because that's what we all want and like. And I think it's pretty normal when companies merge that some people just really miss that feeling and they just want to go back to that. Mike, tell me about the beginnings of Playbook Management. Why did you decide to start your own company and how did that evolve?
Okay, so after my construction career, in 2010 ended, I ended up going to, I'll say it didn't end. It ended by my choice.
Yeah.
But I ended up talking to some real estate firms and some other industry companies, and ended up going to work for a contract furniture dealer here in town. And they were a large Knoll dealer, Carolina Business Interiors, great company. They've been around for a while and seen some tremendous growth. And I worked there for, I'd say, about 3.5 years. I started out learning about the furniture industry, workplace design, change management. It was really just a different side of the business, being on construction and bricks and mortar and
Right.
paint and finishes, and moving to that sector of the industry was really cool and really good experience, just to learn about the whole change management, how a space is designed, how people work. A lot of questions that I never asked or never realized anyone asked to design a space. I was kind of just open up to another side of the business. You know, when you get a set of plans, you price it, you get your subcontractors to build it, but you don't know the whole process behind it that is 3 to 4 months of just analyzing, programming, workplace studies. So ended up working there for 3.5 years, but the last 1.5 years, I started our architectural specialties division. And one of our products was some movable partitions, demountable walls, prefab construction. And a company called DIRT, stands for Doing It Right This Time, still around, very successful company. And that is more of a construction related product, not furniture, even though furniture dealers sell it. So I was doing a lot of projects where I was the subcontractor of a GC, and I'm sitting at a table with these other subs. And at the head of the table is the project manager that I used to be, and all these subs are seeing me, whether it's an electrician or a ceiling sub, a drywall sub, painter, and they're just saying, well, hey man, it's great to see you. This is awesome. You know, you went to sell furniture and now you're back kind of at this table. You know, that's great. And I realized at that time that I was starting to miss construction. So I kind of thought about, hey, you know, I love selling this product. I think it's a industry kind of changing product. And then I also looked at just where can I take the knowledge of the workplace furniture industry, my construction industry experience, and transition into something else that kind of complements both.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about going to work for other real estate firms to do project management, because in project management, you touch construction, you touch workplace, design, furniture, architecture, and then all the rest of the FF&E trades. So I started looking at all that and talking to other firms. And then I thought, you know what, maybe I'll just kind of go out there and try this on my own. And thought hard about it. And I basically just said, let me try this because I think it could be successful. Mm-hmm. I've never had any thought of owning my own business. I've got some family members that are entrepreneurs. I knew that I could probably go find a job somewhere else. And it seemed like the right time in the market. It was 2014. Things were getting busy in the industry. And so I just went off and started Playbook. And I'd say 2 or 3 months into that, I had my first project. It was 5,000 square foot small.
That's amazing because, you know, usually people start a business where they have a lot of experience doing that same thing, but you were doing it for the first time, right?
Yes.
You just knew you had the skill sets and, you know, all the parts and pieces, and you kind of came to the conclusion that that set of skills were going to be very well suited to do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you're doing construction, you're managing 16 plus trades, a lot more than that. And when you're managing a project for a client from what we do now, you're managing maybe 10 trades, right?
Yeah.
Bigger trades, one GC who has the 16 to 20 trades, an architect that might have 2 or 3 consultants, down to furniture, FF&E, you know, low voltage, security, audio visual, relocation, move management, change management, down to signage and branding. So it's it's pretty much the same skill set, same team building, let's move forward. Here's the same tasks or same goals. So it's just different parts and pieces of it.
Yeah. So you had your first client, you do your first project, and then what?
I ended up getting a nice size deal, probably 8 months into it. It was a 50,000 square foot deal. And, to me, I was like, wow, this is like a home run right here.
Yeah.
This is amazing. I'm just this guy that just said, I'm going to try to do this, and had some success with some smaller projects. So I landed that deal, and we got through the architect phase and shortlisted. We're going to interview some architects. And then that company at the time was going through a merger and acquisition, and they canceled the project.
Oh,
so that was
wow.
my real just excitement. Awesome, big project.
Yes.
This is a big win. I'm so excited. And then next thing you know, it was like, whoa, what do I do now? I was kind of really committed, excited,
Sure.
and had this kind of into my workload, and the next 8 to 10 months,
you
and
already
it
spent
just
the money.
stopped. So that was a good learning experience of, hey, anything can happen in this market,
Sure.
even though the economy's good.
And that's the introduction to the entrepreneurial roller coaster, which
Yep.
is real.
Yep.
Some days you're like, oh man, I made it. This is amazing. And next day you're like, oh my God, what's happening? Why did I do this? But I think, when you're an employee and you have a paycheck, it's very steady, right? The range of emotions is very small, because that if a client doesn't pay the bill, you're still getting your paycheck. If things happen, if you don't get a project or not, you're still getting your paycheck. So your emotions are very stable. That wave is so small. But when you're out there in the marketplace, selling what you have to get that value in return, and you don't sell it, you don't eat.
Correct.
So those emotions are very strong. I've realized that's been one of the most interesting things for me owning a business, is that at the beginning, I was like, oh my God, what did I do? Because I was up and down, one day, 1 week, one thing. Now I've got used to it and I enjoy it.
Yeah,
So-
no, you're right. That's not the only job that's been canceled in the
for
past
sure.
6 years. So it kind of was a good test, and it had to happen at some point. So I think early on, it was a good test of, hey, you just got to keep grinding and keep put your name out there and manage the unforeseen. So
yeah. So how did you go about selling project management services to, your network and the people when you haven't done that before for them or for anybody?
Yeah, so I kind of just started meeting with a lot of industry contacts, whether it was commercial real estate brokers, architects, engineers such as yourself, even folks from the furniture industry and folks that were related to construction, whether it's, vendors, other FF&E vendors. And I just started telling people kind of the story of, hey, why I'm doing this, and why I'm excited about it, why I'm passionate about it. I mean, working in the construction industry on all kinds of diverse different projects, run into so many challenges and issues, and still kind of creating success for the project on the construction side. I had a lot of good experience with that, and good mentors and good, I'd say, leadership from folks that kind of taught me the right way, and just took that same mentality of telling the story of, here's what I've accomplished in the past. Here's the additional skill set I have from the workplace, furniture industry, design, up to a certain extent, right, that I have, and the success with that. And just told people, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I'd say people like to hear folks' story.
Yeah.
There's the Simon Sinek, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
That's
so
right.
I listened to that. I read a lot of books, and I kind of just told my story. I said, this is why I'm doing it. And this is what I do, but here's why. And I think it resonated with people. And, I'm the small guy And I think people always try to pull for folks that go out and try to start their own business. People are generally nice and want to help people be successful. So it was really helpful.
It's incredible how people want to help people.
Yes.
It's like human nature. When you see somebody taking a risk, you feel excited for them and you want to do anything for them to help them to get to their goals.
No, I feel the same way. I meet a lot of folks that want to start their own business and they're like, how'd you do it? What'd you do? And the first thing I tell them is you need to be patient and confident. Yeah. And I think we might have had this conversation when you started yours, right? And it's all about being patient and it'll come. And, I had to learn that same thing. Maybe at the beginning I wasn't patient, but I was confident that it would be successful if I kept grinding at it and performing work and doing a good job and getting good references. The patience and confidence, I think, is very important.
I think that's an incredible combination. Confidence is so big. I feel that every month or every week that I do new things as a business owner, I become more confident. And my level of confidence today versus what it was 3 years ago when I started business is huge, and feel much more confident today. I believe a lot more in myself, in what I can do. And that's very important when you're selling your services, because people feel that. When you encounter somebody that's very confident about who they are and what they do, it's a lot easier for people to buy your services and even pay extra, because they want to feel that confidence.
Yes. No, I agree. I mean, confidence is the key to selling. It's a key to being successful. And it's just a good mindset to have. I mean, you want to go into every opportunity thinking that, hey, I got a really good chance at winning this. I'm going to do everything I can to win it. And if you don't, you go back and learn from it.
Sure.
But you got to go in that way, because if you don't, how do you interview and how do you express that and have the body language and the inflection in your voice and the excitement with the client talking about it? It's hard to me. It'd be hard to do that successfully without the confidence of knowing that you can do a good job and you're one of the best choices that a client can make.
Sure. One time I was listening, I think I was listening to a podcast or something when I heard this concept called the confidence loop. So they talk about the 4 C's. So the 4 C's, the first C is confidence. So it's all about how do you grow your confidence level and you become more confident. So the first C, it's commitment. So you commit to do something, right? You like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but I'm in it. I'm going to start the business. I'm going to write the book. I'm going to get into this relationship. But you're still scared because you don't know, but you take the step, even if you're fearful. Once you do it, you develop courage, because you're like, okay, let's do it. So you feel this courage that makes you do the thing. And once you do these things, you develop capabilities. So once you develop the capability, that gives you confidence. Yes. Right? Because you prove yourself that you were able to do something you thought you were not able to do before. And once you understand that concept of the confidence loop, you just keep doing that over and over again, because you make another commitment and another commitment.
Confidence, commitment, courage, capabilities. And it just becomes a circle and then just inherent.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with more from the Power of Design podcast.
The Power of Design podcast is brought to you by OSA Studio, a multidisciplinary design firm focused on creating impactful experiences through the power of design. We partner with our clients to create buildings, interior spaces, brands, and strategies that help you deliver a successful project. As a minority-owned firm, we are committed to building a diverse platform of curious and driven design professionals so we can together pursue our full potential. For more information, please visit us at www.osastudio.com.
Now, tell me about Playbook Management today. What are you guys doing? Projects that you're working on, clients?
So we do all kinds of different projects for different clients. We do office interiors, corporate interiors, headquarters space. We do base building projects out of the ground, whether it's small office or industrial manufacturing. We do some landlord work for investors, whether it's repurposing a building or doing kind of the landlord infrastructure revisions based on they bought a building, they're trying to upgrade it. So we kind of touch a lot of different markets. We do some retail, not a lot. We don't chase it, but we've done a couple of restaurant clients in the market. So just a pretty diverse portfolio. It's fun. Everything's different. It's not kind of the same cookie cutter project. So it's been very, I'd say, I feel very blessed to kind of have 6 years of success and continued growth.
Yeah. What do you think makes Playbook Management unique in the marketplace?
So I would say the diverse experience of our team, from where they've worked before, what they do, how we manage problems, issues, opportunities. So with my general contracting background, that's probably 80% of the costs on a project.
Yeah.
So I've got another gentleman in office. He's got a general contracting background, and another female, she's got an architecture background. So those are some big components of a project. Same with the workplace furniture experience that I have. So I feel like those are good added value experiences we have to provide for clients. And what that allows us to execute better on projects is when there's a problem, we could solve it pretty quick and in the right manner to keep things moving. So I'd say during my construction days, whenever there was a problem, an issue, a roadblock, your job was to still be done on time, still be done on budget, still have the best quality. So that's kind of the mindset that we take on our projects. So when something happens, it's, hey, how do we get it fixed? Going back to your first question where I alluded to getting the team together and figuring out the answer or the options to solve a problem or tackle and make an issue go away. It's how do you solve it? It's getting the team together to collectively solve it together, but you also need to have that experience, whether it's architecture background or construction background or furniture background, workplace, but taking all of that and creating the team atmosphere for all the stakeholders, from the client to the GC to the architect, furniture dealer, and all the other vendors that come behind there. We're all a team. We manage it like a team. We all win together. We all lose together. Yeah. So there's the finish line is moving in the client, on time, on budget, highest quality that everybody can provide. And when there's issues and problems, we just figure them out. We get them solved as a team, and we create that atmosphere of, let's all do this together, because it's easier when you work as a team than when you try to do it by yourself.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it's fun too.
Yeah. And I will think that for the size of your company, let's say if you compare with bigger, gigantic corporations that they provide project management services, you're a lot more agile and nimble. And there are many things you can do that they can't, because they may have a structure or some levels of approvals that it's just not possible to do things, certain things to move at a certain speed.
I would say that probably is another maybe differentiator, just because we're not heavy into policy. Yeah. We're not heavy into, you got to get these approvals to do certain things. Not to say happens a lot when you're running a project, but we also have a pretty seasoned team that has years of experience combined. So when there's a problem or issue, it's just very easy to solve, even though it's a hard problem or a complicated issue because of that experience. And being nimble and agile and asking questions. There's a lot of issues that come up on a project. And when they do, we sit there and say, well, what can you do? What are your options? What are your ideas? And that's the whole thing of team.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Because you start doing that, it makes it easier for people to figure it out.
Sure.
So
what would you say is the biggest challenge your clients are facing today?
So that's you're probably going to hear the same answer on you could ask that question to a lot of folks in our industry. And I would say, construction costs, that's continually risen in the past 2 or 3 years. I just saw an email last week from another large commercial real estate firm, and there is an article about the law firms and the building out of space of law firms and the rise of cost, overall all-in costs, hard costs, soft costs for interior outfits went up 12% from 2017 to 2019.
Wow.
So that's continuing to be a problem for clients.
Yeah.
And then, a lot of other clients, or typically most of them, if they're moving or they're growing, it's because they're successful and they need to find talent. They need to hire people. Or some of our manufacturing clients, they're growing, their businesses are growing. They have bigger commitments and orders, whether they're making a small part or a final product that they're selling to the market. So attracting and retaining talent, and all kinds of talent, whether you're a financial institution, a law firm, a manufacturing company. So I'm sure you've heard attract and retain, construction costs, but I would say it's managing growth correctly would be like the big umbrella of all those, because growth is a challenge for everybody.
Yes.
And it's a good challenge to have, but under that, it's attract and retain to keep growing. It's control costs so I can make sure that I can afford this. And I don't know if the pendulum's getting to a point where costs keep going up, land costs, rent, construction. So is there a tipping point? Where's that? I think in Charlotte, we're in a good market. It's a very attractive place to live and work. And so I don't think we're there yet, but you just never know when that's going to change. So a couple different answers to that question.
Sure, no,
but
that makes a lot of sense.
Is the main...
I always ask that same question to everybody in different industries, and it always goes down to talent attraction and retention, construction cost. Those are the two things everybody's concerned about. And it's interesting because growth is the most natural thing that exists. Everything grows, nature grows. We grow as humans every day. So growth is part of life. It's just, I think, as you said, is managing growth, because it's going to be there. But are we really prepared and thinking ahead?
Yep.
Because sometimes I will think that one of the biggest concerns for when your business is growing is, how do I prepare? And am I preparing too much or too little?
Yes. No, I know. That's always a challenging question. I mean, I've asked myself, what's the next 5 years look like? I mean, the first time I decided to start my business, I never thought I would have office space and have people working for me. It was, hey, I'm going to try this out. Like I said, it's going to be fun. I'm confident. I'm patient. It'll happen. So now as you grow as a business, there's other problems or issues or challenges that you always need to be on the forefront of.
Yeah. So in the design and construction industry, everything is about, productivity, efficiency, being responsible with the resources we have. And the typical framework of design and construction is still a very old framework. You cannot have an idea, you put it in paper, you give it to somebody else, they build it, and then you move in. How do you see the design and construction evolving in the future? What do you think is the next level of effectiveness, productivity, streamlining processes?
Yeah. So, I mean, technology is a big player in all that. And I would say there's different ways to deliver a project. So there's the way that you just talked about and mentioned.
Yeah.
And I would say there needs to be a different mindset of, hey, this is how we've always been doing it. Here's a better way to do it. So with technology, there are faster ways to design, price, build. But I don't know if we as, just local to Charlotte have embraced all that. I don't think anybody's done it effectively or said, hey, here's what we've done. Everybody's still starting, I think, maybe on the cusp of what is that? What does that change? So getting involved early with a team and getting the whole team on early would help deliver a more successful project faster, maybe more economically. So, but I don't think a lot of clients or people know that that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of metrics behind it. People kind of think, well, why am I going to bring a GC on board when I don't have a design yet?
Sure.
So why am I going to bring a furniture dealer on board when I don't know how many offices I have? So I think as an industry, if there was more people that, you talk about integrated project delivery, that's kind of a trend that's has happened in the past, but doesn't happen a lot in our industry.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I will think that a company that is like really fully integrated, imagine a business that they do project management, architecture, engineering, construction, furniture, and you go as an end user, you go to them, and they do everything in-house.
So that reminds me of there's this company called Katera.
Oh, yeah.
So they are trying to revolutionize the industry that way. I don't think they've gotten down to furniture, and I think they might be based in Japan or somewhere. Hopefully I get the country right. But I think them and there's a couple other companies that are trying to sort of revolutionize the industry or change it because speed is important. And they're starting to maybe merge those different parts and pieces of the whole process so they can help deliver it better, which, like you said, we could still do it without everybody being together. It's just bringing them in there earlier. And that's the benefit of having a client that is visionary or thinks about that and having the right team together or even just vision and even project management, like what we do, like having that person there to help guide and bring the right team. Yeah. So I think that's kind of future trend, and you can't get too big by having all those companies, because then competition, there's the balance, right? The tipping point of then it becomes a monopoly, right?
Yeah.
So
good. Mike, tell me, how does the power of design impact who you are and what you do?
So I would say the power of design, when I look at it, and I'll kind of give an example of, I was at an industry event last week and there was a couple different speakers, and one of the speakers worked at an automotive company. They build automobiles, cars, SUVs. And he was showing all these different images and pictures. And there was this picture of this vehicle I saw, and I was like, wow, I want that. Like I saw that car and I'm thinking, first of all, I don't need a vehicle right now.
Yes.
But so I'm in this seminar and I get on my phone, I Google it. I'm like, whoa, that's kind of pricey. Oh, here's the interior pictures. Here's this or that. So I kind of look at the power of design in our industry the same way as if I was going to go buy a car. Mm-hmm. Like I saw that and said, I want that.
Yeah.
I want that. So designing a space and having the right amenities and having the right branding or whatever's going to bring people to work and make them feel comfortable. And there's like an emotional connection. Like I saw that car, I was like, I like that. That's cool. That's awesome. I want it. So the power of design and what we do is you want to give that same kind of emotional connection or draw to people, whether it's, the executives at a company, the associates that work there, the clients that they bring in of, hey, wow, this company looks cool. I want to work with them. So the power of design in your space and your workplace can help achieve that and provide that. And there's that emotional connection, that people buy with emotions. Like, I have an Apple product here. There's probably some products that are a lot cheaper, but it's cool. I like the features. So, I would say that's probably the way.
That's a great answer, because I think it goes hand in hand, the power of design with the power of brand.
Yep.
And I bet that car, you're just thinking about how are you gonna pay for that car?
Correct.
You're not asking for a discount or anything.
I looked at it again this morning.
You do whatever.
Okay.
And I think that's what's powerful about having strong brand and a strong design, is that price becomes irrelevant. There is a point where there's some things that they cost a lot of money, but there is a market for it. People will make decisions to buy those things because how those things will make them feel when they own them.
Yep.
And that's what you're really selling. When, I always say we don't sell products or services. We buy emotions. We sell how people feel when they're interacting with our services.
And that's how the space should be in the end.
Sure.
When you build workplace or buildings. So
yeah. Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming here. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank you for your friendship and your advice. Since I started my business, you've been very helpful and gracious with your time, and we get together once a year to celebrate.
Yeah, I think we're due for that.
Yeah. Well, I think we missed this year. So we need to do that. So I look forward to continue our friendship and hopefully do a project together soon.
Yes. No, thank you, Jack. I really enjoyed it. And I appreciate you inviting me to be part of your Power Design podcast. It's been exciting to watch it, listen to it, hear it, and see your success in the market with your business. So I'm very proud and fortunate to call you a friend. So thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Thank you for listening to the Power of Design podcast. Remember to rate and review on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Find out more about Jack and Osa Studio at osastudio.com and follow us on Instagram at the Power of Design podcast. Thank you.